The John Daly Award. Yep. And I did successfully get the live stream working this time, so just FYI. Yeah, unless that stresses you out. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna be pretty good. It's it probably seems chaotic because we've just got kind of a pattern and a rhythm, but once we get going, it'll be it'll make a lot more sense and be a lot less stressful. Yeah, yeah, don't worry about it. I'll we do suggestion pretty well, and I'll be like kind of keeping time on the segments and making sure that we keep it moving. Yep. I'm gonna try and add in some sound effects before we go live. Is there anything else, like what should we just make sure and chat about before I let you go? Because our thing, my call time is 2 p.m. Yeah. Hmm. Got it. We can make we can sort of that I think that one will really chat through. Like yeah, I think that one we'll probably spend some more time on. This the sneak draft concept I think will be I think I think it'll be a little bit too complicated. So let's just do it. We'll do it as a regular award, but we'll spend more time talking about each of them. Exactly, exactly. Okay.
It's all fake news.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be Ludo. Ludovic Faliapu. Yep. Yep. Cool. I gotta go pee. But I will see you in the show in just a second. Cool. Chat to you soon. Bye.
Just had a realization. I suppose you don't want to hear me like coughing and hacking in the background.
You can do whatever. I mean, like up to you.
Well, I closed this door and
My mic is pretty like isolating.
Oh,
but yeah.
good, okay. Well, I'll certainly. Don't mind.
In the kitchen. All right, cool. I'm up to you real quick.
See ya in like an hour.
Hello.
Some kind of a live. We're fucking doing something live.
We are I can't switch cameras. Oh, well. I will be with you in just 1 second. I think can this work? It's all so easy doing these live things.
By the way, you're gonna be on the hook for the questions to the guest because I didn't see any.
Oh, sick. Yeah, like we're just gonna go. He's gonna introduce the categories. I'm gonna introduce the nominees, and then we're gonna banter about who wins.
Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah, that's the idea.
So today is the Who Wins episode?
Yeah. Yeah, we fucking do it live, man.
Yeah. Amazing.
The,
I thought we were just presenting the nominees today. I didn't know. it was going-
really drawing it out. Really, I mean, like I feel like that's we gotta be more I don't know, more vibrant and live than that. Video capture device.
Agreed.
Let's see, device C22. Yeah. Can you see me now? No.
Nope.
Sick. There we are.
Oh no,
Yay!
I see. You'll be. Oh no, there you are.
I did
Gotcha.
it. Wow, this streaming stuff's so easy. I don't know why it took me so long.
Yeah.
How you doing? We're already live.
Looks like you got some overalls on.
I put on my formal overalls for the occasion.
You
know,
gotta do it.
you
You
just to,
gotta
to-
do it. Holy shit!
This is what happens when I spend an extra 7 minutes before the thing comes on, actually getting my act together, loading in.
That
the,
was
the sound
like.
effects.
If I was delighted before to see you, I am now 8 times more delighted that we have this Seinfeld baseline crank.
How you doing, my friend? You got like what's up in the news zone?
Oh, we're live. Like, should I just jump in?
We're fucking
going?
live. We're live now.
Right.
Yeah.
Welcome
like-
to the
oh yeah, welcome to
Free
Free
Buddy
Buddy Podcast. Yeah, this is our first live episode, and we're really good at it, as you can tell.
But are we gonna put this out just so that people can be fully aware of how little I know? Does this still go out to the normal podcast?
Yeah. We'll
listeners?
like cut it out, and like I'm in the process of moving over our podcast host to YouTube, so that we have
yes,
some more discoverability. Like all of the podcasts I listen to by like other trans people, mostly people who do sex work and like all sorts of. It's like my information consumption is insane. It's like transgender sex workers
my
and
God.
institutional investors.
Google doesn't know what to do with your tailored search terms.
Yeah, like if you're interested in the ethics of sex work and the ethics of investing, boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Skadoosh.
Skadoosh. But yeah, this will go out as a regular pod.
Sweet. And it's also nothing like having the very famous, the very credible Jason Zweig make fun of our YouTube channel.
I know.
For having like literally 0 followers to get
I know.
you going.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think that some comments that you are maybe referring to were off the record, so I'm not sure.
Oh no, shit. But the very first moment of being live.
Yeah,
blow
like
it.
but we did get some comments from someone who will remain nameless that our YouTube like literally the second we sent out our first marketing email in years, like I got back a response, hey, you guys are terrible at marketing. You sent me a screen cap of a bunch of videos we had uploaded that had no views.
Yeah, that was kind of shocking. Yeah. Nobody, well, I admit I didn't know we had a YouTube channel.
I mean, I barely mentioned it.
I'm on here. I'm on this thing with you. I didn't know we did the YouTube.
I mean, like I barely knew, and I made the YouTube channel.
Yeah. You
know?
must have it automated, so it must auto-populate the YouTube.
This whole AI thing is really getting out of hand.
Yep.
I think, like
It's nuts.
they just sort of create YouTube channels for you, like I mean, if someone could actually clean up my messy desk, that would be like that would be the AI I really need. That's a nice.
Basically, my move, which you can see behind me, is I just stack books, and then they look like that's on purpose.
Artfully create. Yeah, but that's like too many books to be like a perusal coffee table pile.
No, that's a fair point. Yeah, you're not perusing through that.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, but that's like board games that you need to clean out.
Yes. Nailed it. We had board games out because Sloan, the queen of the segue, we had board games out because we lost power. And do you know why we lost power?
Because California is a failed state?
Yes, I've had a few people mention that, but most of it has to do with the atmospheric tsunami.
The atmospheric river. That's creating a powder day that I will be enjoying tomorrow.
My kids had what we think of as the California version of a snow day, which is a power day from the trees getting blown over onto the power lines. So our kids were home yesterday because the power was out and the school's power never came back on. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like when I remember actually having snow days, for the old-fashioned reason that no one could get to school. But like I guess as we move into deeper into this whole failed state thing, it'll be much more about like, oh well, we can't keep people safe in the school anymore.
Yeah, probably. I think it has to do with that. The phones weren't working.
Yeah.
The rooms are cold.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it was fun to have them
Like,
home. Actually. It was
man-made horrors beyond anyone's comprehension.
I think we're operating on different vibes right now. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of fun, and you're like, this sounds horrible.
I'm like, the world is ending.
I'm like, yeah, we turned the fire on and we read books. Like,
I mean, that cool. That is like a snow. There's nothing like a snow day.
I know, because it's a surprise.
Yeah.
So the beauty of this was like the power was out, then the power came on, and the kids were devastated. And as I put them to bed, I was like, maybe the Santa Claus of power outages will arrive overnight, and you will get your wish. And guess what? When we woke up that morning, school's power was not on. And we got a text. And so they had the experience of like what it is to wake up thinking you're going to school.
Yep.
And then be told, nah, go back to bed.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Real
it's
good.
So beautiful. Yeah, like it's
I
just
know.
like what is not to love about like surprise? It's kind of like that meeting is next week.
I know.
Incredible.
That's not due today? I know.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, I don't have to fill that out at all. I just had an experience where I was filling out a due diligence form. I thought I had to fill out this 35-page thing. Turns out I could just sign a 1-page affidavit.
Oh my goodness me. Beautiful. So I do have news before we get into our big segment du jour, which is segment of the day.
Yeah.
For those that don't speak French. The news comes in the form of AI, and then we're going to talk about private credit because private credit's gone bananas. But first, AI is even more bananas. It is everywhere, and the Massachusetts Pension Retirement, sorry, I already got it wrong, Pension Reserve Investment Management Board,
known as MassPrim,
I think that's it, MassPrim. They're going to use AI, they say, not just to automate boring tasks. They're calling out their peers here by saying, oh, y'all are just doing boring tasks with AI. Do you know what we're doing? Investment decisions.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So it's like, we got to get these guys on the pod here because that's what I like to think is my specialty.
I think we gave blockchain a lot more credence. We did multiple specific blockchain episodes. We went out hunting. We searched our networks. I think we should do the same with AI. I think we should have, someone I know just joined FactSet to do their AI for investors tool. We should get some data providers. We should get some asset owners really talking about what they're doing. Because how do you even, as a fiduciary, oversee an automated investment decision that's made fully by an AI?
It can't be black box. It has to be what's called explainable AI, which is a thing. XAI.
So it shows.
I only learned that because somebody wrote XAI on a whiteboard, and I'm like, sorry, I don't know what that is. About a week ago.
Is that X like EX or X dash AI?
It's X. The letter X AI.
Got it.
Instead of Gen AI, it's XAI.
So instead of the answer, it says, I know this because this, and the other thing.
Well, you get the answer, but you also get the explanation for how the answer was grabbed. And this is like the beginning of good governance of AI, which is like, as we're making decisions, we need to be able to say, why are you recommending this?
Yeah. How do you think, Salesforce has been running this ad campaign where it's how do you know what the AI is doing, and great ad campaign, props to them, because scaring people about AI is a really, I think, profitable move right now for data providers.
Yes, it is. And my favorite quote from my English teacher junior year of high school was this: the more you know, the more you know you don't know, I don't know what we're talking about, Sloan, but I just wanted to give you that quote because I think it's pretty good. Moving on to my next bit of news. This is the first time I've mentioned this plan on the pod. Fresno City Retirement System
closely followed
has announced their new pacing plan for private credit. Private credit is going to make up 15% of the plan. It's only a $3.8 billion plan, but starting in 2024, they're going to do 70 million, then 80 million, then 85, then 90, then 95. You get the point here.
Wow.
They're going all in. So
And
that's
you know-
one bit of news. The second bit of news before we stop is the Maple 8. So from Fresno to the Canada Pension Plan.
They call them the Maple 8. I haven't heard that before.
Oh, you haven't heard the Maple 8? These are the big 8 plans
Mhm.
in Canada, Maple 8. And the Maple 8 have all announced they are ramping their allocations to private credit.
It truly
Each and
is the
every
golden
one of
age.
them. So part of what I just wanted to riff with you on for a second is like we're sitting here witnessing all these plans around the world ramping their allocation to private credit. I'm not even sure exactly if private credit, it's a little bit like hedge funds,
Yeah.
It's like, what is private credit? Well, it could be a lot of stuff.
That's
know.
exactly what I was going to say. Like, just like, point of order. What are we talking about when we say private?
Yeah. It's like when people say hedge funds, you're like, wait, are you doing high frequency trading or macro? And they're
Yeah,
like,
or like long short
it's
equity.
hedge funds.
Yeah, exactly. Like some hedge funds are like, if we're down by 2%, we're going to kill every portfolio manager. Like we have all of their children watched by a sniper, and if they're they have a drawdown, we take out the child. Yeah.
You're in a funky mood today.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking
Snipers
about.
and catastrophes.
Well, no, but
Hey,
like,
but what do you think is the unifying thing? So for hedge funds, I would have said it was uncorrelated returns. I guess for private credit, I think it's illiquidity and cash flow.
liquidity and cash flow seems like it.
Okay.
Like because like and unrated probably too is another thing.
Right.
Yep,
Unrated. Although I think a lot of private credit gets securitized.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that would probably be rated.
And there's a difference between like private credit where it's kind of like a lending platform where you're just kind of basically making the equivalent, like you're on Lending Club or Prosper or one of these places, you're lending to consumers, versus like a lot of these private credit funds are doing no covenant lending to private equity portfolio companies. Like
Mhm.
where and then like a lot of the concern in regional bank land is around commercial loans to real estate companies.
Yeah.
And so you sort of can imagine the spectrum from the consumer all the way to the enterprise that comprises private credit, and it's really just credit,
Yeah.
without the rating.
Yeah. Look, there's a whole part of this, which is like, are we just seeing the general partners that have tapped the allocations to private equity, right? They're
Mhm.
like, we've sold so much darn private equity. There's probably no more private equity we can sell. And then they're like, everybody seems to have this big bucket of fixed income that is underperforming. Maybe what we can do is sell more private high fee stuff under the guise of private credit and tap into those fixed income allocations,
That's not crazy. I mean, like I don't know if you saw,
Yeah.
there was a Blackstone video that went out recently where, did you see this?
No.
I should have texted you this. It's like this incredibly stupid music video that they made.
Oh,
where
was
they're
it like their Christmas video or something?
Yeah. Where they're like, we have $1 trillion in assets and it's getting bigger. And like all these, like they're talking about all these
Holy
like
shit.
alternatives that they have. It's just dark stuff. But like what motivation is there more than asset gathering and fee generation in the investment management business?
Well, I don't want to be cute and say that all of this rise in direct credit is coming from the LPs. I mean, I'm pretty sure the LPs are pumped, so they're like market is meeting demand.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we should be skeptical that this is LP driven. This is GP driven. Like there's a lot of big GPs that are trying to figure out what are those next products they're going to sell.
Well, and the other thing is that, like, in contrast to private equity, right? Public equity is well-lit, liquid, well-regulated market. Public debt is a dumpster fire.
I know.
Bonds are completely illiquid. They're traded like by the phone.
I feel like we talk about the same damn stuff every week. I can't remember if it's me and you talking. I'm always telling people how insane bond trading is.
Yeah. It's like it boggles, but it has not since my mom walked on the Salomon Brothers trading floor in 1982. Like the basic architecture of the market has barely changed.
Holy
and so
cow! Was she in Liar's Poker?
So fun fact, Liar's Poker, the only person who went on the record in Liar's Poker, is this guy Wolf Nadelman, and after the book came out, he got immediately fired from Salomon Brothers, and my parents took over his lease.
No!
Like, because he was my mom's best friend, and like the apartment that I came home from the hospital to, it was that apartment. It was Wolf Nadelman's apartment.
Oh my God! So you are like 3 degrees of separation from all those people. Equities in Dallas or whatever.
Seriously, I mean, like there are people I know who worked with my mom at Salomon, my dad at Dillon Reed, and then me at CFA Institute.
Holy cow!
Which is just stunning to me.
That is stunning. It is this pretty small community when you kind of actually unravel it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like
that's my news. I've had Fresno, I had Mass Prim, and I had the Canadians into a single newscast.
I mean, that's really what everyone is is here for.
I mean, really, I've just been staring at the snow levels in Tahoe, if I'm honest, because I'm going in 2 weeks, and I'm like in the last, I think it's 48 hours, they've had almost 40 inches of snow or something like that. It's outrageous.
Yep. It's very, very, very schmexy. We've got our guest here.
What's our guest doing?
All right, he is, I mean, like, I think trembling at the might of the responsibility that we put in front of him.
Wow.
We got Dimitri Yaslovich here.
The mountain of responsibility is what I walked into.
Yep.
I mean, that's really, I think we specialize in exactly that, is just making all of our guests feel the fear of standing before the almighty free money audience.
Just real quick, do you still have your Christmas lights up behind you? I'm just trying to check in on you.
I do. If I felt like the occasion warranted being a little festive. Also, Christmas lights, a nice, like, low-key way to not blind your guests with artificial light.
True. I like the thoughtfulness.
Unfortunately, I just blind them with the brilliance of my eyes.
Oh. Does look like you have a rowing machine there, Sloan.
I do. I have a nice rowing machine, and like I've got one of 3 pairs of skis behind me because I'm kind of polishing up my quiver to go, and I've got some friends in town, which is why I'm in a silly mood today. I'm gonna go spend some time playing in the snow for the next 2 days. But Dimitri, like, you inspired this episode. Like, why? What got you thinking about awards?
So, I mean, I think I'm a big fan of award shows in general, just as a, so as someone that does communications for a living, like a lot of that just entails consuming content constantly. So movies, TV, music, sports, all the content I can get my hands on. And the great thing about each of those, like, parts of the entertainment universe is they have these awards and they have these, like, big debates around who was the best or who was the most exciting or the most interesting or whatever. And, like, these things really captivate the public imagination in a way that few things in today's society do. And it just got me to thinking, like, where are the finance awards? Like, there are awards for, like, Investor of the Year and Research Paper of the Year, but, like, nobody's getting all wound up about those types of awards. Like,
and they're kind of a business model for publications too. Like they nominate a bunch of people, the people buy a table. Like, I think for some publicly traded finance publications, you can see that the award shows are actually more lucrative than the publications that they run.
So,
yeah, it is a business model. I can tell you because I've been at a bunch of these things. It's like, you have
you want an award or two yourself.
Yeah, I've never won, but
it's an honor to be nominated.
Yeah, it's an honor to be. I'm an award nominated researcher. But the reality is, like, you have 50 people in the room that have been nominated. They're all hoping to win, but they are that they're being sold to the managers and the bankers and the brokers that are paying to be in the room. And so
Yeah.
it is quite a lucrative model.
So,
So
definitely some pay to play schemes going on, but like I think the main thing, like those awards just aren't all that fun. Like I'm sure there's, it's nice to get together with your fellow financial professionals and
for sure.
talk about what's going on, but like they don't capture the public imagination the way that like what Taylor Swift said at the Grammys does, you know.
Mm.
And I went through this exercise, just like killing some time of like, if we had a award for like the best representation of finance in film or TV, what would we be able to come up with? And the options are shockingly limited. Maybe not shockingly, but disappointingly limited. It's like basically billions and a few other things most people have never heard of. And even the shows, movies that do exist, they're almost universally a negative representation of the financial industry. Like, it's talking about Ponzi schemes and like financial crises and financial fraud and
When there's
sex
so much
scandals.
actual nonsense to shine a light on and kind of highlight, right? That without sensationalism.
Exactly. Like that, if I feel like that there's a gap in the market to honor the like truly absurd and funny and interesting and creative and maybe even sometimes like positive, even world changing that happens in the financial industry that like nobody talks about because that's just not how this industry is wired. So that's the brainchild. That's how we get to free money awards, because these awards aren't going to give themselves out.
It's a good point.
So someone's got to stand up and say, you matter. You deserve some recognition for whatever nonsense you're up to in the world of finance.
So our first category. Let's see. We got a live audience here on the YouTube. I think like it's really obvious that we have a lot of excitement in the audience around.
People are pumped. They're
Yeah,
like,
like
oh my God, are you telling me you're going to do joke categories and pick people?
I mean,
And the answer is yes.
At least the categories. I don't know that our writing team's had enough time to write the jokes, but
yeah, our tragically
Maybe
under-resourced
next
writing
year.
team. But like so we are. Why don't you introduce our first category, Dimitri?
yeah. So our first category, we're calling this the Special Effects Award, and it's an award for really creative efforts by investors or businesses to evade scrutiny or accountability.
We love to hear that. We love that. We love it when they do. And yeah, I mean, like our first nominee in this category is BlackRock. Well known in the industry. Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, now saying that he's ashamed of ESG, scrubbing the website of ESG.
kidding.
Yeah, like that's
Okay. Wow.
that's really. I mean, yet they still have billions and billions of dollars in ESG assets under management, of course.
Before we start, how are these nominations nominated? Is there an external procedure, or is this coming out of our ears right now?
Well, we have a spider in the basement here that speaks English.
Okay,
Yeah,
just-
that's that's
All
our accounting firm that makes sure we're
the
I mean, like,
widespread
for
voting.
professional process. This is all above board. We definitely didn't make this up like a couple.
This
weeks
is not
ago.
just made up. Okay. this
Is it more trustworthy if there's a spider in my basement or if there's an accounting firm? Not sure.
either one?
I don't know. That's where we're gonna have to leave that one up to the audience.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. Keep going with your nominees.
But yeah, so we got BlackRock, we got Vanguard for abandoning the Net Zero Asset Managers Initiative just before a hearing and scrubbing their website for references to ESG. ExxonMobil for suing their shareholders for an activist campaign they didn't like.
But still suing their shareholders, mind you, even though the shareholders have since dropped the resolution, which is
Wow.
just petty.
Suing them for thinking about having a resolution. Starbucks for preventing worker unions. The top secret endowment fund of the LDS Church for basically using all sorts of special effects and special purpose vehicles to make itself invisible. And
Ooh, I like
Bank
that.
of America for reversing its environmental policy around financing coal mines.
Yes,
Huh.
they're now doing enhanced due diligence instead.
Hmm.
The word enhanced is really doing a lot of work. in that
Enhanced
phrase.
interrogation techniques.
That's the special effect, the enhancement.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
yeah,
So
that's why they made it into the category.
who stands out to you, Ash?
For me, I guess it would be BlackRock.
Yeah.
I'd be a little. I just don't know enough about the others. I mean, Vanguard strike me. They're just doing the average market, right? They're just doing the index. But Larry Fink came out and said climate risk is financial risk. So
Yeah, he was.
although I'm
was
sure
the
there's
big
a
proponent.
nuance there to his comment around ashamed, because you and I both know the ratings in ESG are.
Yeah, like it's an
So-
interesting problem. Like I found myself making common cause with a whole bunch of people that I never thought I would consider
I know,
allies.
exactly.
Because we're all getting sued by the jihadist wing of certain parties. But yeah, I mean, like I want to see my homies here in Utah get an award, but I feel like the LDS Church saying secret pales in comparison to trying to make it seem like, even though you've been the biggest proponent of ESG and sustainable investing for a decade, that you're like kind of not, you're over it now. You're in a new era.
Yeah, and that's really where the special effects come in, right? It's because he is very like neutral or even anti ESG stance in the U.S., but then very pro ESG stance everywhere else. Like how can one firm manage so many conflicting ideologies? That takes a very creative special effects department, also known as probably their communications department.
So yeah, I mean, like I feel like we got a winner there. For the congratulations to BlackRock.
Finally, Larry Fink won something.
Yeah, exactly.
But is it true? I mean, I'm just reading it. It sounds like he's ashamed of the debate. Anyway,
I mean, like
this is us doing our research. I know we're notorious for that, but now I'm finally reading it. It sounds like he said, "I'm ashamed of how ESG is being used in politics." It's a little different than saying I'm ashamed of ESG. But
Sure.
come up and get your award anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get up here, Mr. Rock. This one, I think we've got. This is a really fun one. This is the John Daly Award, which I think that was originally.
Yeah, tell him who John Daly is. It's my favorite golfer.
I mean, you're our sports expert, Dimitri.
I love sports. Have never gotten into golf. I do know who John Daly is, and he did some shenanigans, but
He was notoriously like. There's the Tiger Woods model of golf where you're like an athlete,
Yeah.
and the John Daly model of golf where you drink 14 Hurricanes in the course of an 18-hole golf course.
And smoke a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
What one of a kind character, and this really intended as an award to honor the individuals, the celebrities, that are doing stuff that you just like can't make up. This is like the page 6 of the New York Post of finance, and what you want to call it, the John Daly Award, the John McAfee Award, the Mike Tyson Award. We have a long track record of people.
It was also in some of the notes the Saddest Billionaire Award.
Yes. I thought we were going to have to come up with people that were like hard partying, John McAfee and John Daly. But really, this is more scratch your head. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah, exactly. Like they did what?
All right, I can't wait to hear these ones. Let's hear these nominees.
So our first nominee is Bill Ackman. The well-known chief investment officer of Pershing Square Capital. For among other things, like getting in a battle with the president of Harvard. We talked about this on the last episode. Like really drawing a lot of attention to the fact that his wife has pretty significant ties to Jeff Epstein. And just really antagonizing Business Insider and all sorts of other people.
Okay, that's a head scratcher.
Right?
I'll give you that.
You'd think you would have other things to do, like running a hedge fund, but
how hard is that really? So the second one is James Dolan of Madison Square Garden, now known as Sphere. You know, for
So the Dolan story. So also a sports reference. So owner of the New York Knicks, generally hated by anyone that is a Knicks fan or aspires to be a Knicks fan. And he goes and builds this thing called the Sphere in Las Vegas.
That thing looks
you,
rad.
you
though.
seen this?
Yeah, I like that thing.
it's
At least
pretty
it
cool.
looks like I would like it. I don't know.
I would like it unless I had to live next to it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Well,
like-
it's Vegas. You're probably not living like right on the
Fair.
strip
Fair.
unless you're a performer. Well, he finally did like one really cool, interesting thing with his life, and then the other shoe dropped, and he gets accused of sexual assault, sexual harassment. Excuse me. Dating back a few years ago in a case that also brought up the name of Harvey Weinstein, and not exactly the kind of person you want your name in headlines next to.
Not the kind of person I want
It's,
building my spheres. That's for sure. Then we've got Doug Ramsey, the former chief operating officer of Beyond Meat, who bit off a person's nose.
Say what now?
Which, by
That's
the way,
real?
if anyone's following along at home, that's not vegan. Eating a human's nose is not. Yeah, like this guy got in a fight in a parking lot and bit off a person's nose. I mean,
That's
Oh
happened.
my gosh.
that happens.
That's why you got to watch the Free Money Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To follow
All right.
along. We got David Solomon, DJ D Sol of Goldman Sachs. You know, and like, you know, I think this is a very competitive category. You know, he actually, you know, as a house DJ, and so, you know, there's some inspiration, you know, there's some assumption here that he, you know, may party a little hardy. And then David Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, who threw a drink at a fan, and has been covering himself in shame as the owner of that team.
Oh.
How do these sit with you, Ash?
I mean, these are all real, and I'm getting new. I mean, frankly, this categories are like a great news show for me. I just,
I know,
believe
right?
Some
It's
of this stuff is going on.
It's
But
almost
for
like
me, the Beyond Meat guy biting a chunk of a guy's nose to me feels like it's the ultimate head scratcher of all these. You know, Bill Ackman, it's like he's an alum of Harvard. Yeah, like, did he put his foot in it? But you know, if things were going terrible at Princeton, maybe I would write a letter. I don't know.
Yeah. But like, I mean, I don't know. I gotta give it up for Ackman in this award. I feel like I'm, you know,
You're
like,
voting for Ackman, or
I'm
that's
voting-
who wins because you get to pick.
No, what's, you know, it's a democratic process. We consult the spider, we consult each other. But you know, and I think Dimitri's the tiebreak here between Ackman and you know, and Doug Ramsey. But you know, for me, like Ackman and the amount of energy that he's putting into these various awards, and like, you know, he's campaigning against diversity now, like, you know, and
Interesting.
kind of sponsoring all these presidential candidates. That's kind of sketchy and dark webby, you know. I don't know, something. And the thing I left out of the intro, by the way, is that Ackman almost got into a fight with Joe Biden at a private dinner, where
Tell us this story.
So basically, you know, it's a private dinner. You know, they were talking about why Biden didn't run in the 2016 election. You know, because it's sort of the idea was that if he ran, he would have won. And Biden's had just lost his son. He says something. He's like, I didn't want to get involved. Ackman says something smart, and Biden is like, "You want to finish this outside, boy?" You know,
That's real.
that's totally real.
This has been reported. This is like,
Okay.
Yeah. So like, I mean, that, you know, for getting our president to want to fight him outside.
Yeah, maybe you win. Maybe you win.
Yeah. So
That's wild.
come up here and get your award. Woo! That's it. That's all the clapping he gets.
You're gonna get that at the ready there, Slow.
I mean, you know, that's the trick. I mean, this next one is actually kind of a positive award for a change in
Good.
tone. Dimitri, you want to kind of introduce this category?
yeah, we're calling this the Allyship Award. So
Okay.
we're trying to honor the true free money allies that are out there fighting the good fight, pushing for more sustainability, more impact, more ESG, and are generally the good guys in finance.
This category list, it's almost like a rogues gallery of people who are on the wrong side of the anti-ESG crusaders.
Okay.
First nominee we have is the Indiana Bankers Association.
Okay.
Talk about a deep cut. They actually push back really hard against their state's attempt to legislate ESG out of existence. Arguing that they manage a lot of variations of risk, and go screw yourself if you want to tell us how we do that. Next one, Kentucky Bankers Association, same deal. They got taken to court by the Attorney General, and
they sued the Kentucky State Attorney.
Oh, that's right. And characterized the attempts to legislate ESG out of existence as amazing and disturbing broad overreach, which we love to hear.
I also love their characterization of the Attorney General as wasting and improperly spending taxpayer funds, which to say to a Republican is really
them fighting words.
Those are fighting words.
That's like accusing a what's it called, a Democrat of being non-woke. I mean, gosh. Then we got the As You Sow. Shout out to Andy Bahar, who was on a previous episode, for pushing back really hard on the anti-ESG claims, getting sued, getting subpoenaed by the House Judiciary, all sorts of fun stuff there.
Yeah, got to be doing something right if you get subpoenaed by Jim Jordan and his buddies.
Then there's the Interfaith Council on Corporate Responsibility for organizing a bunch of groups. Actually, Dimitri and I are both in an email group that is basically lights up every day with new and exciting lawsuits that those of us who do ESG related things get implicated in. Shareholder Commons for supporting campaigns at Facebook, Walgreens, Fox News, all sorts of other stuff. And Ceres for educating folks and also getting sued. What stands out to you, Ash?
I mean, the ones that you said near the end, the last four, I think are all awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It would be difficult for me to pick one or the other. They're working hard, but I'm tempted, and I kind of defer to the other judges here, to pick up on either Kentucky or Indiana Bankers Associations and reward them for kind of actually being kind of awesome and saying, you're overreaching. The ESG is a risk management tool. We can use these alternative data however we want. Stop wasting taxpayer money. Because I think that is the raddest thing I've heard in a long time.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Wow.
I mean, I totally, I think that this is a two-way tie between Indiana and Kentucky.
I love it.
Because
I love giving it to both of them.
Because I think As You Sow, ICCR, Shareholder Commons, Series, these are all organizations that exist to further ESG and sustainability thinking, whereas these mainstream trade organizations, stepping into the fight, that's what allyship really looks like.
That's because there's probably the bankers that they are associating are probably, some of them, trying to get anti-ESG, right? Or at least
exactly.
They're being told they should be anti-ESG. So for them to step up and be like, stop it.
It's you're being kind of weird here.
Yeah, it's courageous.
You want to introduce our next category, Dimitri?
Yeah, this is probably my favorite category as a communications guy. I spent a lot of time reading and thinking about greenwashing, what it looks like, how to stop it, how to hold people accountable. So in honor of that, this is the Greenest Wash Award for the greatest contributions to bullshit. By the various
contribution to bullshit. Yeah, we got
organizations and companies that are just not trying that hard. They're just kind of there.
The Greenest Wash should almost also have a lifetime achievement category. because I think there's people who've dedicated their lives to this shit that I'd
That's a
like to
good
call
point.
out. But we'll do that. That'll be the next awards
Yeah,
ceremony.
yeah. That can be. We can do a special.
Yeah,
You know,
we can just give it to like all the fossil fuel majors and that they can share it. So like we'll give them a cheese plate.
I mean, yeah, or like some cured meats. You know, some nice anti-ESG stuff.
Vegan cheese, because
Yeah, force them to go vegan. I mean, so a lot of our awards this time around are these big convenings. The first one is COP28.
Okay. Greatest
know,
wash. Cup
yeah.
28?
Yeah.
Go on.
For softening its language around phasing out fossil fuels, and
Interesting.
committing efforts towards lessening unabated fossil fuel emissions. You know, and kind of like making a big, sturm and drang about it, and then kind of there's, not really much to it.
yeah, and they're also worth mentioning the chair or the president. I don't know if they have chairs or presidents for COPs. Sultan Al Jaber of the UAE getting into a fight with an Irish climate advocate named Mary Robinson, where he said there is no science that says phasing out fossil fuels is necessary to address climate change.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Which,
That
maybe don't say that.
No science I've read, at least.
Maybe stick to your talking points on that one. But yeah,
Then we
didn't cover himself in glory.
Then we got Davos for being a continued kind of effort to just honor a bunch of rich people for being rich people. Which I know we really have to dig deep for. But like not really thinking too hard about long-term risks, kind of ignoring the continued inequality. I think of Davos as a festival of inequality. Then I think Edelman for the Edelman Trust Barometer.
Ooh.
Do you know about this, Ash?
Okay.
This is the survey.
No, tell me about it.
It's this big survey that, among other things, like looks at what drives trust in society.
Oh shit! You're not going to tell me that there's some
unethical
behavior.
Do we have screen sharing abilities on this podcast?
I think I don't know if you can't if you don't see a button, it might be impossible. Like I can do it,
but so just hit me with the punchline. Some ethical fraud in the trust survey.
But, I mean,
the survey itself is fine. I'm sure they have processes. It's
okay.
It's let's take a couple seconds looking at this graphic of the countries that are most trusted. And
yes,
wait, the blue is trusted?
Yeah, so Saudi Arabia, a real paragon of governance. Malaysia, China, Indonesia, UAE,
Nigeria. No, that makes
total sense. Yeah, those are places where I would. I mean, like, yeah, a decent number of countries where like can I even go to Nigeria without getting killed?
Is down there. I mean, I'm like, fine, don't trust USA, but Japan people?
Yeah, seriously.
So to clarify, this is the people in that country being asked how much do they trust NGOs in that country, businesses, governments, media, etc. So
okay.
If you're in an authoritarian country and you ask the people of an authoritarian country, do they trust the government?
What are they going to say?
Most of them are going to say,
yeah,
of course I trust the government.
Yeah, 100%.
And the cherry on top of all of this is that Edelman has done a lot of work for those authoritarian governments, including for the UAE. They're very, very involved in COP28, taking millions of dollars from autocratic regimes. And I'm not going to say this survey was designed to make those authoritarian regimes look good, but I'm also not going to say that. Well, not
saying that.
And our last category, I'm actually summarily dismissing 3 nominees from this thing because I think our first couple are so strong. Our last one in this category is Havas for winning the Shell Media account and pledging to help the company change from within. This action has led them to, among other things, enter into an investigation get investigated by B Lab and may lose its B Corp status. And they're saying we have to say we won't participate in any greenwashing whatsoever. No greenwashing is happening here in the greenwashing factory.
So for those people that don't know, Havas is a giant communications conglomerate that does a lot of PR advertising.
I did not know that. Yeah.
And have subsidiaries all over the world, and they won this giant account to do advertising for Shell. And I love this quote from the Havas CEO Yannick Ballor. If you ever want to read up on the Ballor family, they've got their hands in some interesting things. He was quoted as saying, "We believe the most effective change comes from within." So we're not going to participate in any greenwashing, but we hope that in choosing Havas, it shows that they're serious in their transition journey. So basically, he thinks he can convince Shell to be greener while being paid by Shell.
Yeah. Okay.
That's two really strong entrants from the communications industry there. What do you think, Ashby?
Yeah, look, I think I'm going back through it. So the Edelman one to me just feels like it is what it is. The survey designed. I can read that survey now that I understand what it's measuring as quite negative for the ones at the top,
Yeah.
And maybe there's a reason the ones at the top were in red. Or was it the other way around? I can't remember.
I think it was
okay. For me, I was I don't know. COP28, Davos, Edelman, or Havas. I defer to you all on this one. I don't have strong views. I believe you.
I'm leaning towards Edelman, just
Okay.
because I think if we're thinking about the greenest wash, right? And you think about, so World Economic Forum is doing some of this stuff, they're in the weeds on climate change and they're trying to kind of change the fact pattern. Davos, they're hanging out, cuddling with each other, patronizing sex workers, great for them. Edelman is creating the kind of thing that middle schoolers will cite in their reports about why politics is good and what the determinants of trust are. And they're, basically, perverting our understanding of what this very important thing is, with the ultimate end of legitimating these extractive regimes.
Yeah.
And so that I think has to
there's
be
something very dystopian about a giant PR firm, the biggest PR firm in the world, getting to take money from corporate clients, from governments, and then put out a survey like this that attempts to define what trust is across all these different segments of the market. Maybe not the ultimate authority. Maybe Edelman is the trust in Edelman is maybe something that we should explore. Not just the trust in different countries, different businesses. It just strikes me as a dystopian fantasy that we're living in.
Yep.
This going on.
Yeah, I mean, Edelman's out here trying to, kind of distort the reality. And
Denied.
Man, you hit me with that one. That one got me.
Yeah, come out here and get your award. Woo! And our last one, I think this is actually a very serious award, where we basically draft someone into the pantheon of the F-Anon All-Stars. People who embody the spirit, the hope, the values of the broader F-Anon movement, which, if you're not paying attention, is designed to, it's an evidence-based conspiracy designed to make investing good again. Not great.
Here's my question. You said draft into the movement. Does that mean the nominees and winner are not yet a part of the movement? Because I happen to know a few people in the movement that are pretty special, but this one we're drafting them in.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, it's when you're in a community as exalted and wonderful as F-Anon, as we have the meetings, we wear the robes.
We do.
we make the sacrifices. You know, and we commune with the spider. You know, like it's hard to pick out just one person, but
It is hard.
you know, but I think like it's kind of it's interesting to think of it as drafting someone involuntarily into F-Anon.
But it's fun. It's fun to draft. You're like, you're in, even if you don't know what we're doing.
Exactly. Like, welcome to our little cult.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, do you know how to pronounce this guy's name?
I think I do.
Ludovic
Ludovic
Philippou.
Philippou.
For and why? Like, I mean,
Philippou.
for writing a bunch of papers I wish I wrote, basically.
I know.
Like, you
Yeah,
know,
so Ludo, he's at Oxford, right? And he is the person who came up with the greatest insight maybe ever in academia. It's a simple piece of data analysis where he wrote that 76% of private equity GPs are top quartile. And that's because that's how many claim to be top quartile, right? Because they're cherry picking their data and doing their version of greenwashing, but it's a performance washing.
yeah.
You know.
It's the old kind of green.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Ludo, we welcome you to a future episode, and you know, congratulations on your award. I think, you know, everybody wanted it, and you got it. You know, Dimitri, before we let you go, I think, you know, like, why don't you give us a TV, you know, your recommendation for the best depiction of finance in film or TV? You got a bunch of episodes or a bunch of different kind of series kind of laid out here, and I'm curious which strikes you as the most magnificent.
I mean, so Billions is probably the natural choice as being like the most synonymous with the industry that we work in, but it's also, you know, kind of sensationalized and over the top and like not all that great at getting into like complex financial maneuvers. So I think I would give a shout out to Yellowstone.
Off the beaten path.
Which a friend of mine in sustainable finance got me into. I was like, wait, why are you into this show? It seems like sort of for viewers that don't know, it's about like a ranching family in Montana trying to like hold on to their enormous piece of land.
So the size of Rhode Island.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
it's
it's literally a giant piece of land, and you know, there's some above board ways to try to hold on to that land, and there's some maybe below board ways to try to hold on to that land. But some of the financial tools that are used get quite a bit of play in this show, and I think it's just like an interesting example of how powerful financial interests are and how powerful market movements are. And if you know how to manipulate things in the market in the direction that you want, then you can get your desired social outcome, which in this case for them is trying to hold on to their land. So it's not a finance show. It is very much like almost like a human interest, like historic fiction kind of show. But I think the fact that it like ties in the role of finance and how it affects people's everyday lives in ways that they may not see or acknowledge or understand is really powerful. And so anybody that has some viewing time on their hands, you got to wait till season 3. It's a lot of nonsense they have to get through first, but once the finance stuff comes up, it's a really good watch.
It's a nice
I've
off the
not
beaten
seen
path.
any of the shows you've listed here. Not one of them.
You haven't even seen Billions?
No.
Oh,
I apologize. I can't help in any of this.
I'm glad that
I
we're
probably-
finally streaming so the viewers can see me.
I know
shake
they
my
can
fist
see
together.
the angry fist wave. You know, I admit that like I do too much finance. I do not want to like relax at night thinking about hedge fund negotiations and shit like that. I mean, honestly, that's like the least amount of fun I could ever have. I do like True Detective though. My gosh, I love stuff like that. Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, I mean it's true. I think I have a very escapist tendency with my media consumption too. I'm not like trying to, see stuff about stock picking.
I
But
can't
anyway,
even watch the session. It's like people are like, oh no, it's so good. It's like
it is
"Ah,
so good.
brutal.
It is so good.
Anywho,
Thank you so much for joining us, Dimitri.
Thanks,
for
Dimitri.
Inspiring this
Thanks for having me.
institution.
I almost think we should do this every 4 weeks or something. Like, we just keep creating categories and we'll get better at it too. We'll get more tight.
Yep.
I'll pay attention more next time. I didn't even realize we were doing the show this time. I apologize, Dimitri. I'm grateful. But it's fun.
We'll get some. Put it to your many readers or listeners. Excuse
Yeah.
me. To
We'll get some categories that people
recommend
wanna
some
hear about.
categories, and we'll put it
Yeah.
to the brain trust. See what we come up with.
Hell heckity yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dimitri, and we'll catch you offline. Nice, fabulous transition coming up. Am I overdoing it with the sound effects this time? Now that
No, I
figured-
love it. Don't ever stop. Never stop, never stopping, as they say.
I can't believe it took us 4 years to make our first award show.
I know. It's done now. It's in the
It's
vault.
done now. It's
People have
done.
won it.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's the reference entity for all future, outcomes. Do you feel like we covered enough ground? I don't think that that's possible.
I think now that I've seen it come together, I'm interested in like going deep on a few fun things in the industry that I observe.
Yeah.
That's unique to pensions.
Yes.
So a lot of the stuff, if I admit, like I don't know a lot of the people that that won awards today.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I didn't know the.
I think they're kind of like very high level, it's kind of what you might know about finance if you're not really on the front lines of it.
Yep.
Whereas like, with the exception of, I think the greenest or the allyship award, that was like, we're really in the weeds there on who's the kind of like,
You're in
deep
the
state.
weeds. So what I'll take it like next award show, call it in 4 weeks. I'll take it upon myself to come up with like 3 categories of like wackiest mandate. So just like when you're like read it, you're like, wait, that's a mandate. Like in the same way in the top of the show, Fresno, 13% in private credit. Like
Yeah.
like we'll come up with a few of those.
But I think
right.
it's time for our most beautiful. How long has it been since you've heard that sound? I mean, it's
I
like,
missed it, Slow.
I know.
But it's great to have it back.
It's great. Software, not only does it write our AI show notes, it's even starting to do the things that it said it did 4 years ago. This is a question I haven't asked you, and it's a question that's been trendy to ask all men. So I'm curious, how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
Today, almost never.
Really?
Yeah.
almost never. Wow.
So living in Oxfordshire, where I lived for 5 years, you would have Roman ruins around a lot. Also, we had Gladiator as a movie, out. That was fun. I think maybe on March 15th, I do a little joke probably about the Ides of March. But like, I'm curious, like, how often are people thinking about the Roman
I think
Empire?
it kind of became this like a crazy thing among like women and femmes where like they would ask their partners like, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? And they'd be like, at least a couple times a day.
What?
And it's like, excuse me? Yeah, ask a bunch of your like dude friends like how often they think about the Roman Empire.
What are they thinking about? Like,
well, I think there's sort of this fascination in American society about like the lessons that we can take from Rome.
oh man,
Because they're sort of like Rome is like America, and like if we can understand why it fell, we can prevent our decline or something.
interesting.
I think it's sort of a sign of like, it's a sign that you have actual real things to think about, that you're not thinking about the Roman Empire.
I'm not reading books about Rome.
I would be really shocked if you're like, yeah, actually, I think about it constantly.
Yeah, exactly.
Just whip out like I don't know,
What do they have there?
like a sword, toga,
I guess
sandal,
sandals. I think of toga parties.
Yeah, toga
That's
parties.
Rome.
That's another future episode.
It's also
the free money
House.
free money
I'm
toga
honest.
party.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another way. If you could only tell a complete newbie one thing about investing, and so this is a great premise. Like,
Yes.
you're talking to somebody who you will never speak to again.
Okay.
And you want to embed one piece of like software in their head
Yes.
about investing. Right. And like, 50 years from now, they're sitting there, they're thinking about it, they'll be like, Ashby said this, I need to remember that.
Yeah.
What would it be?
My thing is like bring joy into this process, and part of that reasoning.
That is a wonderful fucking sentiment.
It's because I think it's the most pleasurable career you can have, and if you approach it with joy, like what you need to understand is to be a good investor, you have to have a profound understanding of the world and its component parts, which gives you license to travel the world.
Yep.
Read extensively, talk to a lot of people, learn as much as you can, and eventually apply it in the context of some investment decision or trade. But like, what an amazing opportunity to like build a career.
Yeah.
And like make a little bit of money. And
Yeah.
so I guess like the first thing I would say is like to a newbie is like try to inspire them to build a career and bring joy into this space.
That is like, especially, I mean, even if you're just saving for your own life, like to think about it as this gift that you give to yourself in the future, to experience the joy of it. Like, I think so much of the guidance around investing is around avoiding the worst outcomes.
Yeah.
Like avoiding fraud or like avoiding, yeah.
So much of what I do now is as like doing venture investing is like trying to understand what I don't understand. Which is a really cool intellectual project. It's like I meet a founder, I meet a company doing a project, and I'm like, what don't I know? What questions should I be asking right now?
That is
and
a
that's
great,
like hard. That's hard to do.
Yeah, like to just sort of just be living in your in what you don't know about something that you do know because like your venture investing is gated into a relatively tight area.
It's a very tight niche, and yet I meet people all the time where it's like the amount they know, like compared to what I know, fills a library. And so you're like, oh crap, what do I ask these people?
It's really bananas. Yeah, I mean, like I wish my instinct would be to say bring the joy into it.
What's your instinct?
Stay chill.
Stay chill. Well,
that's
like that's also kind of an emotional / like mindset, which is also where I went. You also went mindset, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
keep your cool, stay chill.
Take it easy. I mean, like I think like especially when like I'm talking like retail investors or something like that, like they sort of think of it as this like high stakes, like making a lot of decisions, doing a lot of stuff thing.
Yeah.
And like I always am really I take pains to emphasize that it's more like going to a thrift store and poking around than any of that crap they see on TV.
Yeah. Keep calm and enjoy yourself.
Yeah,
is the free money recommendation to newbie investors.
Yeah, and if I had two things to say, it would be build a process.
Yeah, I think if you have more than one thing to say, you start saying, like get yourself educated, get fluent in like the language of finance, don't get fooled.
Yeah, don't be like, oh, I don't know what a derivative is, and just like that's my life now. Friggin' learn what a derivative is.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's the last question.
Okay.
Which is a really interesting portfolio design question. Let's say that you are like, you wake up, you inherit this portfolio of cash flowing oil and gas things.
Oh.
And it's a family affair, right? It's
right.
like, your whole family is like tied up in it. The income's going to all sorts of places. People hate that it's an oil and gas thing, but they love the income.
Yeah.
You want to transition it away from the oil and gas sector over time, but you need those returns. How do you do that? How would you start on that question?
So I would immediately go to the objective kind of task of assigning risk metrics, financial risks. So like, how are the cash flows volatile, et cetera? How much upgrade do I need to pay for? And, what do I need to do financially to keep this asset flowing cash? So these are a bunch of the risk and financial metrics I would collect. Then I would look at physical climate risk and transition risk. And I would even potentially, if I'm really wealthy, pay somebody to do this stuff as a third party.
Yeah.
Because once you have this data, and if you can validate the data through a third party source, then you can sit with your family and have a conversation about those risks in a way that doesn't feel like you're attacking the family and its livelihood. You're simply talking about the viability of this asset.
That makes so much sense. So yeah, you basically you make it, you transition it from being a conversation about emotions where you have this kind of like vague idea like, oh, we're going to get away from oil and gas, to being a conversation about tangible risks with
Yeah.
real world implications.
Like, have we thought about stranded assets and like what happens if we're holding holding the bag on this asset and the world moves away from, this type of energy?
Yeah.
It's not, by the way, it's not just the fact that people aren't buying our stuff anymore. It's that the government may actually force us to pay for remediation.
Exactly.
There's
I mean,
a pretty big liability sitting there. And so then
I can't stop thinking about stranded asset risk.
Yeah, true.
It's just, I mean, it's mind blowing. You think about it, but yeah, like I think taking it's the broad guidance to go and say like, okay, let's take this emotional family conversation and make it a tangible metrics conversation.
Exactly.
So
by the way, this is what I do with pension funds.
Yeah, it's
Like,
almost like you've done this once or twice.
Courtney, welcome to the Free Money Podcast.
Hi, Courtney.
She's in it.
Woo!
This one's live.
It's live.
You're
Yeah,
fine,
you're famous. You're totally famous.
She's like, should I say something?
But yeah, like, so I guess we've created all kinds of value. We've created all kinds of awards. Now it's garden tip time. We didn't do hard
I got
things.
it. This is the time, late winter, especially when people hear this in a week and a half's time. This is the time. Oh, we didn't do the hard things, did we? We skipped it. Is that what you said? We'll do it next week.
Yeah.
Plant your fruit trees right now.
Oh.
This is actually when you plant your apple tree, your peach tree, and your plum tree. And I know that because we're doing some more planting right now.
Interesting.
And my gardener told me, oh, this is the perfect time.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so interesting.
I am my gardener, but we actually are doing some landscaping and we're getting 50 trees. We're doing it up. I'm trying to get my carbon offset program, Sloan. I'm waiting. I'm pre-planting because I think I told you, we live on the side of a hill with tons of unusable space. Basically.
Yeah.
Like you can't do anything except plant stuff.
Huh.
And so that's what we're doing.
So it's funny. Like one of these times we're gonna have Whit, who leads relationships with like carbon removal buyers for Wood Cash. I was talking to him yesterday, and he's like, "Oh yeah, carbon offsets are just like oil, except nobody wants them."
That's brutal.
Yeah, it is I feel like we could legitimate it all we want, but it might be a while before we sell any of those.
The corporations that have made net zero commitments back to the beginning of their companies want them.
True,
they really do. They really
if you know any of them, send them my way because
they're called names already.
Oh, I know. Yeah, but like we're talking to them, and when you go and say like, hey, we've got this carbon removal, yada yada yada. There's a lot more slow walking than you would expect.
You're right, because they've been burned by doing crappy offset projects.
Yep.
So the quality
exactly
really matters now.
Exactly, and it matters to an absurd degree.
I know. So I have a minute left, and then so we got to fit your tip in, which you didn't tell.
My tip is scatter seeds right now. I mean,
this is it.
Like any perennial wildflower seeds, they're going to need to striate in the winter.
You know what? I actually have 2 bags outside of wildflower seeds. I'm just going to go throw them into the hill.
Yeah, exactly. You don't, I mean, like you might not get exactly what you want, but like, you know what? How much effort did you put in?
Just chuck stuff. That's what I do.
Yeah. It needs to get frozen in order to grow. So like, you got to get that done before the freeze is done.
I wonder if I could feed my dog like stuff. And then when he goes and takes dumps around the yard, he spreads them.
I mean, that would be really funny, especially if you fed him like one specific
Obviously, we don't want to hurt my doggy. Like step one, okay, we're trying to make the dog happy and take advantage of his movement around the yard, taking dumps.
But that's it. That's data. You're getting data from like where he.
And then you're like, where are the dumps happening? And
yeah, you see the dump, like the dump area. You get like a,
at first you're like, your wife is like, go clean those dumps up, and then you're like, I can't clean those dumps up. They're planted with
it's a project.
Wildflowers.
It's a project, woman.
It's a project, Courtney. Okay? It's a wildflower poo project. I can't clean up the dumps.
It's like, more proof that we're grown-ups and we get to decide what that means.
Exactly.
Anyway, thank you all for listening. We love you so much.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, man.